Tribal segregation on set. On the set of Planet of the Apes, something strange happened that no director could have planned. The actors, all in heavy ape makeup, naturally formed tribes. The chimpanzees would only sit with other chimpanzees, gorillas with gorillas, and orangutans with orangutans, even during lunch breaks. No rules, no orders, just instinct. It became a running joke among the crew that the apes were unknowingly mirroring the movie's social hierarchy. Some believed it was because the long makeup sessions created a bond between actors in the same species. Others thought it was subconscious method acting. Either way, it made the filming atmosphere eerily similar to the world they were creating, separated, suspicious, and completely immersed in ape society. Gorilla convertible shockers. One of the funniest behind-the-scenes moments came when gorilla-costumed actors traveled from the makeup trailer to the filming location in a convertible car, top-down, full gorilla faces in public. Passing cars would screech to a halt, and pedestrians would freeze, unsure if they'd just seen an escaped animal from the zoo. Some people actually screamed, while others laughed nervously. In the late 1960s, realistic creature makeup like this wasn't common outside of film sets, so the sight was genuinely shocking. Director Franklin J. Schaffner reportedly loved hearing about these encounters because it proved the makeup was convincing enough to fool people in broad daylight. The prank quickly became a regular occurrence whenever they had to travel across town. Forbidden Planet Claw in Museum. The Ape Museum in Planet of the Apes was filled with strange relics, but here's a fact most people miss. One of the exhibits was actually a reused prop from another sci-fi classic. If you look closely, you can spot the claw of the monster from Forbidden Planet, 1956. The crew reused it to save money and add a subtle Easter egg for sharp-eyed fans. At the time, prop recycling was common in Hollywood, especially at 20th Century Fox, where old costumes and set pieces were constantly repurposed. This tiny detail went unnoticed for decades by casual viewers, but is now a favorite among movie trivia lovers. It's like a secret handshake between two iconic science fiction worlds. The oldest suspended astronaut. Remember the creepy scene with the dead astronaut Stewart and her suspended animation pod? Most viewers assumed it was a dummy, but in reality, it was played by a real woman, 83 years old. Casting an elderly actress gave the scene an unsettling realism that no mannequin could match. Director Franklin J. Schaffner believed the subtle movement of a living person, even while lying still, added to the uncanny feeling. The makeup team enhanced her features to look even more withered, selling the idea of decades in suspended animation. Many crew members later admitted it was one of the eeriest moments to film, as having an actual elderly person lying silently in the pod made the scene feel disturbingly real. Recycled sound effects. The epic crash landing at the start of Planet of the Apes sounds unique, but here's the twist. It's actually borrowed audio effects from other films. The screeching metal noise came directly from the Batman TV series' Batmobile scenes. Other effects were lifted from classics like The War of the Worlds 1953 and even the Western Jesse James 1939. In the 1960s, reusing sound libraries was a cost-saving tactic for studios, but here it worked perfectly, giving the sequence a strange familiarity without most viewers realizing why. Sound designer James McDonald blended these elements so seamlessly that fans only discovered the truth decades later when comparing audio archives. It's a masterclass in making the old feel brand new. Matted Painted Liberty. The jaw-dropping final shot of Planet of the Apes, the ruined Statue of Liberty, wasn't a giant prop or location shoot. It was actually a brilliantly crafted matte painting by legendary 20th Century Fox artist Emil Kosa Jr. Filming the real statue would have been impossible, so Kosa painted the destroyed monument on glass, then blended it perfectly with the beach footage. The effect was so realistic that audiences in 1968 were left stunned, believing it might have been a real location. This single shot became one of the most famous twists in cinema history. Fun fact, Kosa Jr. also designed the original 20th Century Fox logo, so in a way his work bookended the entire film, from the opening logo to the shocking finale. Sammy Davis Jr.'s Collector's Treasure. Among the most unique props from Planet of the Apes was a massive 9-foot statue of the lawgiver, the mythical ape leader. After filming, one of these statues found its way into the private collection of entertainment legend Sammy Davis Jr., who proudly displayed it in his home. Years later, another lawgiver statue was acquired by none other than Quentin Tarantino, a massive fan of the series. These statues were made from lightweight materials, but painted to look like ancient stone, allowing them to be moved easily on set. Today, surviving originals are rare and extremely valuable, with collectors paying huge sums for them. They're more than just props. They're pieces of cinematic history that fans treasure like sacred relics. World War II techniques in ape makeup. The groundbreaking ape makeup was the brainchild of John Chambers, a master artist who had once worked for the U.S. Army helping World War II veterans with facial injuries. He adapted those same prosthetic techniques to create realistic ape faces that could move naturally while the actors spoke. Chambers used foamed latex appliances, carefully blending them with the actor's skin to hide seams. The process was grueling. Each application took up to 3 hours, but the results were revolutionary. The makeup's flexibility allowed for subtle expressions, something no ape costume had achieved before. Chambers' work was so impressive that he received an honorary Academy Award, marking one of the first times makeup artistry was officially recognized in Hollywood history. 80-plus makeup artists and the heat wave. The sheer scale of Planet of the Apes makeup demands was staggering. Over 80 professional makeup artists were brought in, pulling talent from other productions across Hollywood. The film was shot during the blistering summer months in the California desert, and the heavy prosthetics trapped heat, making conditions unbearable. Cast and crew frequently fainted, including director Franklin J. Schaffner himself. To cope, they used cooling towels, portable fans, and constant water breaks, although many actors still ended the day drenched in sweat. Despite the discomfort, the team's dedication never wavered. Their collective effort not only made the film visually unforgettable, but also set a new industry standard for large-scale special effects makeup productions. The Poison Oak Chase. One of the most grueling moments for Charlton Heston came during the famous nude chase scene. In the chaos of filming in a rugged, natural location, Heston unknowingly ran through a patch of poison oak, completely naked. By the next day, he was covered in a painful rash, forcing the crew to halt certain scenes until he recovered. The incident became a behind-the-scenes legend, with cast members joking that it was the real cost of method acting. Despite the discomfort, Heston powered through the shoot, determined not to let the film fall behind schedule. His commitment to the role, even under such bizarre circumstances, helped make Taylor one of the most iconic characters in science fiction cinema.
11. Steel bowls for music FX. The eerie, otherworldly soundscape of Planet of the Apes wasn't just the work of traditional instruments. Composer Jerry Goldsmith experimented with unconventional materials, including stainless steel mixing bowls from a kitchen supply store. He struck, scraped, and rubbed them to create strange metallic resonances that gave the score its alien quality. Combined with ram's horns, xylophones, and even prepared pianos, the result was unlike any soundtrack audiences had ever heard before. Goldsmith wanted the music to feel unsettling, almost primal, matching the film's themes of a reversed civilization. Recording sessions often looked more like a science experiment than an orchestra performance. Today, the score is considered one of the most innovative in film history, influencing generations of composers in the science fiction genre. 12. Gaudi-style Ape Village. The Ape Village in Planet of the Apes wasn't designed to look like a typical movie set. Production designer William Kreber took inspiration from 2 real-world sources: the surreal, organic architecture of Antoni Gaudí in Barcelona and the cave dwellings of Göreme Valley in Turkey. The result was a series of curved, flowing buildings that felt both primitive and sophisticated. Kreber wanted the ape civilization to have its own distinct identity, something that felt natural yet intelligent, not just humans in masks living in human houses. The sets were built from lightweight materials, but detailed to appear as though they'd been shaped from clay and stone. This unique style made the village instantly memorable and visually separated it from other sci-fi worlds. 13. Long summer shoot and lessons learned. Filming for Planet of the Apes began in May 1967 and stretched through the intense summer months, wrapping in August. The production shot in scorching California desert locations where temperatures soared well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 38 degrees Celsius. Combined with the heavy makeup and costumes, the heat made shooting physically exhausting. Actors often had to retreat to shaded tents between takes, and crew members brought in industrial fans to cool the set. This punishing schedule taught the studio an important lesson. Every sequel in the series was filmed during cooler months to avoid similar conditions. Despite the challenges, the summer shoot gave the film its distinctive sun-bleached look, which perfectly fit the tone of a barren, post-apocalyptic world. 14. Actors studied live apes. To make their performances as convincing as possible, several actors spent time observing real apes. Kim Hunter, who played Zira, visited the Bronx Zoo, while Roddy McDowall, who played Cornelius, studied chimpanzees at the San Diego Zoo. They paid close attention to subtle behaviors, eye movements, posture, the way apes use their hands, and incorporated these traits into their performances. McDowall even practiced speaking while keeping his lips hidden, mimicking how apes communicate. This research paid off, as critics praised the actors for their lifelike movements and believable body language. Their dedication helped elevate the film beyond just simple costumes and makeup, making the ape characters feel like an entirely separate species rather than just humans in disguise. 15. Who was almost Taylor? Before Charlton Heston was cast as astronaut George Taylor, the role was considered for several other Hollywood legends. Sean Connery, Paul Newman, Rock Hudson, and Steve McQueen were all on the shortlist. However, producer Arthur Jacobs insisted that Heston was his first and only real choice. Heston's commanding presence, deep voice, and rugged image made him perfect for the part. Interestingly, Heston initially hesitated because he feared audiences wouldn't take the concept of talking apes seriously. After reading the script's twist ending, he changed his mind instantly. In the end, Heston's performance became one of his most memorable roles, cementing Taylor as an iconic figure in both science fiction and cinema history. 16. Nova's casting story. The role of Nova, Taylor's silent and mysterious love interest, almost went to Ursula Andress, a famous Bond girl of the 1960s. But ultimately, the part was given to Linda Harrison, who happened to be in a relationship with 20th Century Fox studio head Richard Zanuck. Harrison had little acting experience, but her striking looks and ability to convey emotion without dialogue made her a perfect fit for the role. She underwent special training to move more like a primitive human, relying on facial expressions and body language instead of words. Nova became one of the most iconic mute characters in film history, proving that sometimes silence can speak louder than any scripted line. 17. See No Evil was improvised. One of the most beloved comedic moments in Planet of the Apes happens during Taylor's trial, when 3 orangutan judges cover their eyes, ears, and mouth, mimicking the famous see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil pose. This wasn't in the script at all. The actors playing the judges improvised the gesture during filming, and director Franklin Schaffner loved it so much that he kept it in the final cut. The unscripted moment gave the scene a witty, satirical edge, highlighting the hypocrisy of the ape court. Over time, this quick gag became one of the most referenced and parodied shots in the entire franchise, even inspiring later homages in movies, TV shows, and fan art. 18. Liquid-only diet for ape actors. Spending hours in heavy prosthetics made it almost impossible for the actors to eat solid food during filming. The tight masks and mouthpieces meant they couldn't chew properly without damaging the makeup, so meals were pureed and served as shakes or soups through straws. This strange liquid-only diet kept shooting on schedule, but left many cast members craving a real meal by the end of the day. Some actors would sneak away after filming to indulge in steaks or burgers before returning for the next day's early call time. Despite the discomfort, the cast's patience and discipline helped maintain the illusion of realistic ape faces on screen without constant, costly touch-ups between scenes. 19. Makeup earns an Oscar first. John Chambers' revolutionary ape makeup not only wowed audiences, but also made Hollywood history. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences had no competitive category for makeup in 1968, but Chambers' work was so groundbreaking that they awarded him an honorary Oscar. It was one of the first times makeup artistry had been officially recognized by the Academy, paving the way for the Best Makeup category that would be introduced years later. Chambers' techniques went on to influence films like Star Trek and The Island of Dr. Moreau. His Oscar win was more than a personal achievement. It was a milestone for the entire industry, elevating the craft of makeup to the level of other celebrated film disciplines. 20. The twist ending almost changed. The unforgettable twist ending, Taylor discovering the ruined Statue of Liberty, wasn't always the plan. Early drafts of the script featured different shock endings, including one where Taylor sees a destroyed New York City skyline or finds human artifacts in the Ape Museum. It was writer Roald Serling who suggested the Liberty reveal, believing it would leave audiences stunned. Studio executives initially worried it might be too dark, but Charlton Heston championed the idea. He was right. The ending became one of the most famous in movie history, influencing countless other films and proving that a bold finale can turn a great movie into an all-time classic.